Today we'll be checking out the YoloCam S3. Can this webcam with DSLR-like detail perform, or is there something on this chart that's missing? In today's video, let's find out. Welcome to Team Pandory.
Subscribble.
This product was sent to us in exchange for a non-biased video review. No cash was exchanged, and here's the box. First impressions are, it's a box, and there's not much to go on here, no specs or anything, but we can get much more info on their website. They advertise it as having a larger than normal sensor, AI enhanced, DSLR-like quality, it doesn't overheat, and apparently everything else isn't even close. But if we take a look at the specs, the cracks do begin to show. While it does support 4K, we're not hitting 60 FPS, which is a large reason to use a dedicated DSLR, and the same applies for no optical zoom. But with this large viewing angle and high range of ISO and shutter speeds, this should bring balance to the force. As for the price, they're on sale right now, currently going just shy of $200. We've left you affiliate links down below if you want to check them out at no extra cost to yourself. But now let's check out what we actually get with this thing. The box was sealed by this annoying sticker, and inside the box we get two more boxes. It's like pass the parcel. In the larger of the two, we get the multilingual manual, and since it's basically plug and play, there isn't much you need to set up here. It just shows how to mount it, vertically or horizontally, and then goes into technical specs. One thing to note is it requires USB 3, which matters if your system doesn't have a spare port, and if things get a bit hot, no condensation might actually matter. We also get a useless red card, a girthy USB-A to USB-C cable, roughly 1.5 meters in length, and they also included an adapter, in case your computer only has USB-C. So we just attach it to the end of the cable, and USB-C cable. Inside the smaller box, there's another box, with the webcam inside, and it looks pretty nice indeed. And finally, the mount. So this little doofer feels pretty well made. It's firm, adjustable, and also magnetic, so the camera won't easily slip off. While it's made primarily to attach to a thin monitor, it's also threaded, so you can mount it to a tripod. But let's take a closer look at the camera. As you can see, it looks very premium, and there's no showy name or snazzy branding, so it's perfect for the office. On the top right we can see one small LED, and this rather large looking lens, for a webcam at least. There's a little weight to it, the lens doesn't swivel, and it's magnetized on the side and underneath. Moving to the back there is nothing much, just a USB-C port and nothing else. So let's pop this onto the monitor. Something like that. Here's the camera, and ooh, you see that? Magnety. Even though it's advertised as plug and play, we first want to check out the software. It's a simple download from macOS and Windows, and once we start it up, we get a warning if you're accidentally using a USB 2 port. And if that's the case, 720p is a stable limit of this camera. After reconnecting with USB 3, it lets us know that the YoloCam S3 was detected. And then if we move down to the Options tab, we can check if there are any firmware updates available. Just basically go to Upgrade, and that's it. Fix some bugs? Seriously? Sort out a real changelog at least. Anyway, let's check the software. In here we can easily change the frame rate, as well as the orientation. So if you have the camera vertically mounted, you can set this, and you're good to go. In image settings, we can adjust colors to mimic those of a warm Canon camera, a cool Sony, or a more neutral setting. Even though it looked pretty good, we didn't notice that much difference between them. We got a much bigger kick turning off the vignetting correction. With this off, the corners are darkened, giving more focus to the subject. However, once we selected another option in the list, vignetting was forgotten, so the software still feels a bit half-baked. Needs more bugs fixing. Duh. Anyway, let's move on to the Focus tab. Unfortunately, there's no manual focus here, but there are a few options. For example, Face, AFS, which didn't work very well, AFC, paired with a larger focus range, locked onto the AA battery quite well, provided it wasn't too close to the camera. So we pull it back a bit. There we go. Just try one more time. Let's pull it back, and in we come. With autofocus set to face, it does exactly what you expect it to. Keep your face in focus at all times. Yeah. In the zoom section, we can zoom it in. And if you're using 1080p, apparently this camera keeps the footage super crisp, even at all zoom levels. Underneath that we have hotkeys, but this brings us to the general settings. And then further at the bottom here, hotkeys. You can assign each to a button on the keyboard, and rather than it be quite open-ended, its use is limited to zoom levels. This can be quite handy, But the thing is, the button on the keyboard is locked from doing anything else outside of that hotkey. You just basically like to have pass-through as an option. Moving on, we have the AI parameter, and this button should make our picture quality much better. We have to stay still for 10 seconds or so. Select the picture we like the look of, so this one in the middle, I think. And then 10 seconds later, we need to choose from another set. Obviously this one on the right looks the best, then confirm. And to be honest, I found this new picture a bit crap. Look at my hands here, highlights are all blown out. Let's just reset that. There we go. Moving on, we have the exposure settings, and we can choose either auto or manual. Unfortunately we can't slide this bar left or right, but over here we can adjust the ISO and shutter values. If you know what you're doing, this could be useful, but personally I'd rather stick to the auto setting. Under that is anti-flicker for those with LED lights with flicker issues. Then we have the exposure value, which basically changes the brightness of the whole image. Next up we have the white balance options. The image would change if we had this set to manual, but I forgot to do so, and I'm not shooting this again. If we switch to the color tab, we get a nice RGB wheel, and the idea is that you click on something in your video, and you can change it to any color you want. In practice though, you can't adjust the spread or tolerance, so changing something like the eye color is tricky. Simply put, it's not useful. Same goes for the professional window. Honestly, these feel more like marketing material for websites than a practical feature. In the next tab we have Scene, and this should be where you save all the options as one scene. It's a shame you can't assign these to a hotkey. That would make a lot more sense than only adjusting zoom. So I'll have like a contrasty face, zoom it in, and save it as, what can I write here? Hamster. So for speaking, and then all of a sudden dramatic pause. So according to the marketing, this camera should be good in low light situations. With only 2 LED bulbs and a computer monitor, the image is surprisingly good. But if we turn off all the lights and only have the computer monitor, no. Even after adjusting the exposure, we couldn't get a cleaner image, and maybe a larger lens that lets in more light might be the solution. When it comes to video quality, we're very impressed once we turn a few lights on. It's a shame you can't push 720p to higher frame rates, but maybe they can add that in a firmware update. 1080p at 60fps is clearly the sweet spot though, with good detail at all zoom levels, which unfortunately 4K cannot do as precisely on this camera, and it's only limited to 30fps. So if you shake your head a bit, the movement is not smooth. It's about time for the pros and the cons. The YoloCam S3 is a sturdy, well-built camera, and it looks good too. It delivers great video quality in both well-lit and low-light environments, features magnetic sides, and comes with a solid mount. Unfortunately, the price is a little on the steep side. It's a shame that it maxes out at 30fps at 4K, and the DSLR-like features feel a bit more like marketing than anything else, as there's no natural bokeh, and there isn't even a manual focus feature. It doesn't even have a microphone inside, which is okay if you intend on using one connected to the computer or audio interface, but this is being marketed as a webcam with DSLR-like quality. And finally, the software feels very undercooked. It needs fixing and more features adding, just the simple things like a flip or rotate, and if possible a bokeh, as I really don't want you to see my messy room. To sum it up, this is a great USB camera if you already have a microphone connected to your computer. And as long as you avoid their poor software and stick to DaVinci or OBS for effects, you'll be fine. Here's a quick thank you to all of these amazing humans and cyborgs on our Patreon. And if you too want to help us keep the lights on, please consider joining up. If you've not done so now, whack the like button and maybe subscribe. If you fancy checking out another video, we have plenty more for you to peruse. And this has been Emu Chicken of Team Pandory, and I'll catch you on the next one.
I sometimes hold Wesley down by placing a potato on him.